Okay, so I wanted to do this video because a lot of you talking about child adoption and how to start the process, if you can start the process, etc. So I thought what I'd do is I'd take you to the government website so that you can actually see where all the information is, okay? So you've typed in child adoption and it brings you to this page. It will give you an overview. It will tell you the criteria, first of all, that you have got to satisfy in order for you to even be successful in making your application. Okay, so it's got all sorts there: living in the UK, who can adopt a child, the child's birth parents, etc. There's another page that's called the early stages of adoption, all right? And it talks about the adoption process. And this is where you can either contact the adoption agency and the agency will arrange to meet you, or social services will be involved. Now, depending upon who's involved will depend upon the dynamics within that family, because sometimes people are adopting a complete strange child who they've never met before. Other times people are perhaps adopting a stepchild. So it really does depend on the family dynamics as to what's going to apply to you. The next page is then the adoption assessment, all right? So social services will get involved. You'll need to attend a series of classes about adoption and what's involved in adoption. There'll be an assessment carried out by social services. If you are thinking of adopting a stepchild, you have to contact social services at least 3 months before you actually make the application to the court, okay? And I'll come on to that in a second. But this is why it's really important to just get a brief overview of what it is that you'll need. For example, a police check will need to be done. You'll have to get some references made before you can adopt. So things like that. A full medical examination, for example. Now, the next page talks about applying for the adoption court order, okay? And this is where it will go into the fact that adoption gives you parental responsibility. Now, the TikTok video that I'd done briefly looked at the fact that if two people are adopting a child, anybody else will lose their parental responsibility that perhaps has parental responsibility. So to give a better example, you may have mom and new husband, and the new husband wishes to adopt the child. If that application is successful, biological father, who perhaps already has parental responsibility as well, will lose his parental responsibility, okay? And when you're applying for the adoption court order, this page will cover all of that. Ultimately, if you're successful in your court application, then you will then be given your adoption certificate, all right? So again, well worth having a look at that. The government website is really clear as well on if you want to adopt a child from overseas. So again, there's another page on that which you can read through. You have to contact your local council in England and Wales. And of course, I'm only talking about England and Wales here, guys. I'm not covering any other countries and their adoption process. I'm just talking about where I practice. So again, well worth reading there. There'll be an application that's sent off to the Department of Education with regard, and I'm talking about this is an adoption outside of the UK. So a bit more criteria there that has to be followed. There's a fee which is non-refundable, so well worth you having a look at that when you're applying to the Department of Education there as well. And then the final page on child adoption is birthrights. Okay, and it talks about the father's rights. It talks about trying to stop the adoption process. So the example I gave a second ago where biological mother and stepfather were looking to adopt, if the biological father with parental responsibility was looking to stop that adoption process, the government website is really good on how you actually do that and what it is that you need to do. It also talks about adoption without your consent. So the court does have the power to make an adoption order without the parents' consent, okay? And in some situations that will happen, more so where the child's welfare is at risk and, the parents are found to be negligent and, the child has been taken into care. So, whilst the parents might disagree with the adoption order being made, the court does have the power to make that adoption order. So have a look. It's a really easy to follow page. You can print out any of the pages that you need to if you don't have access to this at home and you need to go to the library to do that. But it's a real clear and concise little sort of step-by-step guide really, and it's definitely the place that I would get someone to start if they were thinking about adoption, even considering adoption, whether it be for a child they've never met, another family member's child, or a stepchild.